Let's begin. The world didn't end with thunder. It ended with the clink of silverware and the hollow pop of an expensive cork. It was supposed to be a celebration. 5 years of marriage. 5 years of sacrifice, shared dreams, late-night takeout in front of old sitcoms, and whispered promises made when the world was asleep. I had it all planned. A candlelit table at Maple Inn Heart, her favorite restaurant. A handwritten letter folded in the pocket of my blazer. A velvet box tucked beside it, holding a ring she'd once seen in a boutique window in New Orleans. I had even convinced the head chef to recreate the dessert from our honeymoon. But plans are just illusions dressed as certainty. And when I walked through the double doors, an hour early to tip the waitstaff and talk to the violinist, the illusion collapsed. She didn't see me. Neither did he. They were too lost in each other. She, Chelsea, had her back arched slightly, her hand tangled in the curls of the man across from her. Lips locked, shoulders leaning forward, oblivious to the world. My breath caught. My knees buckled, but I didn't fall. I walked, slowly, steadily, as though my body hadn't yet realized the betrayal my soul had already felt. The man's hand slid along her thigh. She laughed into the kiss. That's when I tapped his shoulder. He turned, eyes wide with confusion, just as I muttered, "Dessert's early tonight." And then I shattered a champagne bottle over his skull. The chaos that followed was muffled. Chelsea screamed. The violinist dropped his bow. Waiters rushed. Blood mixed with broken glass and Dom Perignon. But I didn't run. I didn't flinch. I simply looked her in the eyes and whispered, "Happy anniversary." That was the beginning, not the end. A week before, routine lies. Chelsea Darden was magnetic. When we met, she'd spilled coffee on my shirt in a bookstore and laughed like it was the funniest thing in the world. I asked her to dinner while wiping whipped cream off my jacket. She was warm, intelligent, and knew how to charm an entire room without raising her voice. She taught yoga part-time and managed PR campaigns for a rising fashion label. Everyone adored her, including me. I was Daniel Trent, construction supervisor by day, aspiring carpenter by night. My world was simple. I built things. I repaired what others abandoned, except for marriages. I didn't know how to fix those yet. At first, everything seemed perfect. We painted the living room together, danced barefoot in the kitchen, binge-watched documentaries about people we'd never meet. But then, the little things started piling up. Late meetings, password changes, a phone that never left her hand, laughter that no longer reached her eyes, and the scent, his cologne, lingering faintly on her coat. I didn't confront her. Not immediately, because good men don't accuse without proof. So I hired someone. More Investigations wasn't listed online. I got the name through Logan, a buddy from my gym who'd used them during his divorce. Ethan Marsh, former military intelligence turned private eye, cold-eyed and precise. If she's hiding something, he told me, I'll find it. He did. In 4 days, I had it all. Photos, hotel receipts, messages that made my stomach turn. Videos. One showed her and the man, name, Adam Rourke, laughing as they exited a suite in the same hotel Chelsea and I had celebrated our second anniversary. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. Instead, I went quiet. Because real revenge begins in silence. The gathering storm. I studied Adam's background. A regional manager for a home automation firm. Married. 1 daughter. Clean image, but Ethan dug deeper. Debt. Lots of it. Quiet, disciplinary records. A pending HR investigation for inappropriate relationships. So I pulled strings. Anonymous emails to his supervisor. Screenshots sent to his wife through a burner account. Tip-offs to a local journalist known for exposing white-collar infidelity. Meanwhile, I played the part of the loving husband. Breakfast in bed. Compliments. Gentle kisses. You're amazing, you know that? Chelsea told me one night as I massaged her shoulders. Only because I married the right woman, I replied, voice steady. She giggled. I smiled. Inside, I was already loading the gun, metaphorically. The dominoes fall. On the night of the restaurant incident, I wasn't caught off guard. I was finishing what I'd begun. Chelsea had planned to meet him again. She told me she had a client dinner. Wore the red dress I bought for our last anniversary. That same red dress would end up splattered with champagne and blood. After the restaurant debacle, I was briefly detained. But Adam didn't press charges. Couldn't. Cheaters rarely want attention. His wife, Marlena, filed for divorce within 48 hours. Adam lost his job within a week. As for Chelsea, she moved out, claimed I was violent, told her friends I needed therapy. I agreed. You're right, I said in a message. Let's talk this through. She came back. That's when I made my move. The money trap. Our joint savings? Gone. Transferred. Legal. Quiet. The credit card she secretly opened in my name? Frozen and flagged. Ethan's team installed spyware on her devices. Her conversations with Adam were now mine to read. She told him I was weak. Predictable. That she'd get the house, the car, the alimony. We'll live like royalty, she texted. Let him crawl. So, I printed that message, folded it into the velvet ring box, and left it on her pillow the morning I filed for divorce on grounds of adultery. In our state, that mattered. Chelsea was stunned, but I was just getting started. The courtroom was colder than I expected. Not in temperature, just in spirit. Chelsea sat across from me, her expression flickering between arrogance and fear. She had a lawyer, a confident woman in a sharp navy suit who clearly thought she had the upper hand. I had mine, Thomas Doyle, former military JAG, and now a relentless family law expert. They came prepared with accusations of abuse, manipulation, and financial control. What they didn't expect were my files. I laid them down quietly, each one a chapter of Chelsea's infidelity. Messages, photos, voice recordings. The judge didn't blink, but her lawyer paled. I believe Mr. Trent has made his position abundantly clear, the judge said dryly. Chelsea glared at me, lips tight, rage trembling behind mascara-smudged lashes. She never thought I'd fight back. That was her fatal mistake. The home we built together, 3-bedroom, suburban piece with a view of Lake Avondale, was more than real estate. It was where we dreamed of kids, where we hosted game nights, where we made promises and whispers beneath fairy lights on the deck. And it was mine, legally. She'd signed a post-nuptial agreement during our second year of marriage, back when she was chasing a green card through a promotion and needed my clean credit and stability. She didn't read the fine print, just smiled and kissed me, trusting I'd never use it. Now was her downfall. I handed her the notice one morning as she came downstairs in leggings and a faded sweatshirt that once said wifey. You have 30 days to vacate, I said calmly. What the hell is this? She barked, scanning the page. Freedom, I said. Mine. Yours. Use it wisely. 2 weeks later, she tried to reclaim control. She invited me to dinner. Let's talk, she said. Like adults. I accepted. We met at a neutral restaurant. Public. Elegant. She wore makeup this time, too much, and a dress that tried too hard. I miss us, she said softly, stirring her wine. I didn't answer. She leaned closer. You don't have to forgive me, Danny. Just remember what we had. Oh, I remember, I said. I pulled out my phone and slid it across the table. On screen, a video. Her, in a hotel hallway, laughing into Adam's chest. Her face paled. You recorded me? No, your phone did. You just didn't protect it well enough. She pushed the phone away like it burned. Why are you doing this? Because I loved you more than I loved myself. And you used that love like a weapon. So now, I'm taking it back. Adam Rourke's life was unraveling even faster than Chelsea's. After losing his job, his wife took their daughter and moved in with her parents in Wisconsin. A civil suit was underway. The HR complaints were being reinvestigated. And thanks to Ethan, several anonymous tips about unfiled bonuses and offshore transactions were now under IRS review. I didn't just destroy the affair. I exposed the rot beneath it. Chelsea tried to get ahead of the story. She called mutual friends. She cried during brunches. She claimed I was manipulative, that I set her up. But people weren't buying it, because the Chelsea they knew was changing. Her mask had slipped too far. Her charm couldn't save her anymore. During all this, I didn't hide in the shadows. I rebuilt. I returned to woodworking, something I'd abandoned in the haze of her needs. I started selling custom furniture online. The orders picked up. Word spread. I lost 15 pounds, joined a local cycling group, Reconnected with my brother Nathan, who I hadn't spoken to in years because Chelsea didn't like his vibe. I became myself again. Not the man who loved her, but the man who existed before her. Stronger, quieter, clearer. With every day that passed, Chelsea's grip on her world slipped. She was fired from her PR job, quietly and without ceremony. Apparently, the company didn't want a scandal. A new intern told me the rumors were brutal. Office affair, leaked nudes, unethical behavior. None of it was directly from me. The truth had simply surfaced. Her bank accounts were thinning. Adam was gone, blocked her number. Her sister stopped replying. Her yoga students dropped out. And in her desperation, she tried one last thing. She emailed me. I know I made mistakes, but you were cold. You weren't present. I was lonely, and I messed up. I'm not asking you to come back. Just please don't let me disappear. I forwarded it to Ethan with a note. Keep the receipts. That email? I had it printed on thick cardstock. I framed it. It now sits on a shelf above my workbench, right next to the velvet box that never got opened. A reminder, not of pain, but of growth. A symbol of the man I used to be, and the one I became after surviving her. Chelsea didn't leave the house quietly. She made a scene. Neighbors stood on their lawns, watching as she dragged 3 overstuffed suitcases and a potted plant down the driveway, like it was her crown jewel. Her eyes were red, not from tears, but fury. She didn't cry. Chelsea didn't do sorrow. She did rage wrapped in lipstick. I gave you the best years of my life, she screamed across the yard as I stood on the porch with a cup of coffee in one hand and the framed divorce notice in the other. I sipped. Don't flatter yourself, I said, voice even. You gave me lies. I gave you luxury. The Uber driver looked nervous. I didn't blame him. As the car pulled away, she rolled down the window. You'll regret this. The only regret I had was letting her take the plant. She'd chosen it the week after we moved in, after a fake argument over what matched the kitchen tile. I let her win that one. Back then, I thought love meant compromise. Now, I knew it also meant consequences. Once she was gone, I changed the locks, tossed the sheets, donated the couch, and repainted the bedroom. The last room she touched. I picked slate gray and charcoal blue. Sharp colors. No pastels, no softness. Just truth. Ethan called later that evening. She's staying at a friend's condo. Already had a blowout with him over rent. I almost smiled. I take it Adam hasn't reappeared. Last I checked, he sold his car and moved back to his brother's place in Jersey, sleeping on a pull-out sofa and begging recruiters to return his calls. I leaned back on the newly purchased leather couch. Good. This wasn't about cruelty. It was about closure. But that didn't mean I couldn't enjoy the poetic rhythm of karma. I started going out more. Just small things, a run by the lake, coffee with coworkers, helping my neighbor fix a squeaky porch swing. I started seeing my parents again. They never liked Chelsea. My mother never said, I told you so, but the way she hugged me a little tighter said it all. On one of those afternoons, I ran into Claire. We'd dated in college, back when I was still figuring myself out. She was a pediatric nurse now. Grounded, warm. She didn't ask about Chelsea, and I didn't bring it up. We talked about music, old professors, how the world changed and didn't. We exchanged numbers. I didn't text her that night, or the next. I wasn't ready. Chelsea had dug trenches in my trust, and though the war was over, the land was still scarred. One Saturday, I pulled out an old notebook, one Chelsea had once mocked me for keeping. You and your daydream scribbles, she used to say, flipping through it and rolling her eyes. Inside were sketches for furniture, half-finished poems, a to-do list from 3 years ago, and a quote I'd written in the margin. Don't burn the bridge. Watch them try to cross it when they need you the most. I smiled and wrote a new one beneath it. She wanted to wear the crown, but she never built the kingdom. I had. Business from my custom furniture shop was taking off. Orders were consistent. I started getting local clients, then regional ones. A YouTube influencer featured one of my pieces in a room makeover video, and that opened doors I didn't even know existed. The house no longer echoed when I walked through it. It hummed with sawdust and purpose. Then Chelsea called. Blocked number. I shouldn't have answered, but I did. There was no yelling this time. No sarcasm. just a voice that trembled around the edges. "Daniel," she whispered. "I think you have the wrong number," I said, though I knew she heard the breath catch in my throat. "Please don't hang up." Silence. "I'm not okay," she admitted. "Everything's falling apart." "I'm sorry to hear that," I replied. "I made a mistake. 1,000 of them." I didn't respond. I didn't expect you to disappear. Not like this. I looked around the room. The polished hardwood floors, the new bookshelf I'd made last week, the framed picture of me and my dog, Max, who she once refused to let on the bed. "You didn't expect me to survive." "I expected you to chase me," she whispered. And there it was. The truth hidden inside her need for validation. "I'm not chasing anyone," I said. "I'm building." She didn't hang up. She waited. I wanted to see if we could talk. "I'm not asking for anything, I swear. Just a coffee, maybe. As friends." I sighed. I buried that version of me, Chelsea, the one who thought you were the best part of his life. Don't ask me to dig him up. Click. The call ended without goodbye. That night, I walked out to the lake. The moonlight spilled across the water like melted silver. I closed my eyes, let the cold air sting my lungs, and felt nothing. Not hate, not pain, not even joy, just freedom. A week later, a letter arrived. Handwritten. The envelope had her handwriting. Inside, 6 pages of memories, regrets, apologies. I didn't read them. I mailed them back with a sticky note that said only, "Unopened." Like your loyalty. Ethan texted later that week. "She's moving out of town. Small apartment. Roommate. Nothing special. She's finally leaving? Looks like it." I stared at my phone. Then I deleted his message. Chelsea was no longer my chapter. She was just a footnote. And I was done reading her. Weeks passed. The house was quiet now, peaceful in a way it hadn't been in years. I'd finished building a walnut coffee table for a client in Seattle. Sanded it smooth, packed it with care, labeled the crate, and stood for a moment just staring at it. It felt good. Honest. Late that night, I saw a message request on my social media. A name I didn't recognize at first. Jenna Rourke. Adam's wife. I debated opening it, but curiosity won. "Hi. I know this is unexpected, but I wanted to thank you. For the evidence. For being honest when everyone else tried to protect them. You saved me time I would have wasted forgiving a man who didn't deserve it." I sat there for a moment. Then typed back. "You didn't deserve what happened to you. None of us did." She responded almost instantly. "Chelsea reached out to me. She's trying to tell me she was tricked too." "That tracks," I replied. "She was always good at rewriting history." She said you ruined her. I hesitated, then wrote. "No, I just stopped saving her." After that, I never heard from Jenna again. But something about that short exchange stayed with me. It felt complete. That weekend, I finally reached out to Claire. We grabbed coffee, laughed a little, talked about everything except our pasts. No pressure, no expectations, just something real. I didn't tell her about Chelsea. Not that night. Instead, I told her about the shop, the table I made, how good it felt to be proud of something again. She smiled and said, "That's attractive, watching someone rebuild themselves." It hit me hard, because that's what I'd done. Chelsea thought she'd broken me, but all she did was strip away the part of me that kept apologizing for being whole. I was stronger now, clearer, not just surviving, thriving. The best revenge wasn't in destroying her life. It was in building mine back. And this time, no one else would own a piece of it. It was nearly midnight when I passed the old bookstore where Chelsea and I first met. They'd remodeled. New sign, different color walls. But the window was still there, the one she backed into while laughing that first day. For a second, I stood there in the cold, watching my reflection in the glass. I didn't hate her. I just didn't recognize the man who once thought she was his forever. Back home, I walked through a house filled with things I built myself. Real things. Solid. Clean. The kind of quiet that didn't feel lonely anymore. Just peaceful. I got another message from her that week. She wrote, "I know you'll never forgive me, but I just wanted you to know I lost everything. I live in a place I can barely afford. I wake up thinking you'll call, but you never do." And for the first time, I didn't feel anger. I felt nothing. No need to respond. Ethan texted a few days later, his usual check-in. "You good?" he asked. "I'm better than good," I replied. And I meant it, because I wasn't the man she betrayed anymore. I was the man who outgrew her memory. I deleted her last message and tossed the framed ring box into a drawer. Not out of hate, but because I didn't need reminders anymore. Closure doesn't come from apologies or revenge. It comes when you stop waiting for someone to fix what they broke and start building something better on your own. Chelsea was a storm, but I learned how to build shelter. And in that shelter, I found something she could never give me. Peace. Real, quiet, steady peace. And that was the real ending.